So today I wanted to talk about a convention. So back in like March or something, the last time that I uploaded an update video, aside from my most recent one, I had mentioned that I had gone to Anime Milwaukee, but I had only gone for a day and then it kind of turned into 2 days. So I said that it was kind of a long story and that I was saving it for another day, and I figured this would be a decent time to talk about it. I just filmed my most recent update video, and the hoodie that I had on smells like valerian root, which, if you don't know what that is, it's an herb that I use for witchcraft stuff, and I don't like how it smells, so I had to change. Anyway, not gonna beat around the bush. Let's get into it. So, Anime Milwaukee. If you guys know, I have a bit of a personal history with Anime Milwaukee. I uploaded a video about 2.5 years ago now about my experience competing with them at AMKE 2018, which I will of course link in the above iCard for you if you would like to give that a watch as well. But aside for that, AMKE is kind of like a cursed con for me. I swear almost every time I go, something outlandish happens. And it's never something outlandish in a good way. It's always like something terrible happens. One of the earlier AMKEs I went to, my friend group got into a huge fight, which resulted in one of my friends and I basically friend breaking up, and then led to another friend breakup like 2 years later, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, I just always feel like AMKE has something that happens to me, and I kind of have avoided it, honestly. I went from 2014 to 2016, and then I skipped a year, so I did not go 2017. 2018 I was convinced into going, and I competed there. I didn't go 2019 because I did not enjoy my experience there in 2018, and then 2020 I decided to go again, just because of the situation surrounding it. I'll explain in case anybody forgot. I am still on staff for a very small anime convention called No Brand Con, and we work with other conventions doing what's called an ad swap and a table swap. So ad swap is when we put like our information into another con's program guide, and then a table swap would be when you go to a con and there's other conventions advertising there and selling their badges. We typically do that where we do that at each other's conventions. So we go to AMKE, AMKE comes to us, and we each sell at each other's conventions, and this is typically free. So in order to be sure that we have people to staff that table, typically when you do a table swap, the other convention will also offer you a hotel room and a small number of badges. So for No Brand this past year, we were offered a hotel room, and we were also offered 4 badges. So No Brand is kind of dying off, and our staff has been slowly dwindling over the past couple years that I've been on. I believe this is going to be my 5th year on staff. My roommate Maddie and I were kind of tossing up about going. I didn't really have the money to go, but I didn't. Usually for us at No Brand, if you're going to go and take the convention's hotel room and badge, you're expected to work at the Ambassador Alley table for a larger amount of time. And if I was going to go to AMKE, I really didn't want to work the table, because it's kind of like pretty much my only vacation that I get to take is anime cons. So what we ended up doing is Maddie took one of the No Brand badges, and then my partner Ruben and I were just gonna go and buy our own badges so that we could just fuck off and go hang out at the con. My parents live nearby, not in Milwaukee, but within like under an hour driving, so we just decided that we would crash at their place, and then we wouldn't have to worry about a hotel. So it's the day before. I don't remember what date it was, but we're getting ready to go, and I'm friends with somebody who goes by the name of DJ Kurtz Callum. He's one of the local Wisconsin area DJs that does a lot of the raves and stuff around here. So he had actually been asked to spin for, I believe it was Friday night at what they call Club AMKE, which I had honestly never heard of before. I don't know if this was their first year doing it, but it's fairly new. I'm also only 22, so I haven't really been much in the con drinking scene for very long, so it could have very well been around for a while, but this was my first year at AMKE that I was able to participate in drinking legally, so I honestly don't know. So I texted Kurtz and I was like, yo, we're going to AMKE, we're super excited to see you. It's always really exciting when we get to see our friends spin up at a rave or at something like this. And he's like, yeah, I'm really excited to see you too. When are you guys getting in? So we're kind of chatting, and we end up driving all the way there. We stop for dinner and stuff on the way. It's like, because from Eau Claire down to Milwaukee is like a lot of hours. So we stop for dinner and stuff. We end up rolling up at like, I want to say like 8:30 is when we parked at night, and we had read online and in the program guide that they had available online, which they also had print copies of at con, that on Friday night Reg was open until 10. So in my mind we're like, man, we have plenty of time, like we're straight cruising, we got so much time. So we show up. When I say we're there at 8:30, I mean we're like parking. So trying to get all my stuff together, and again, we don't have hotel rooms, so I'm like making sure that my makeup looks okay, making sure that the shoes that I want to have on are on, because driving shoes versus like dance shoes can be different. And then we actually have to walk from the parking garage to the convention center. So the registration area, if you haven't been to AMKE, they pretty much take up this whole convention center. It is 3 floors, and then they also take up, I think, like 1 or 2 hotels. But the reg area was on the 3rd floor of the Wisconsin Convention Center. It's just called the Wisconsin Center. So we get there, we make it all the way up to the farthest corner, and there are closed doors. And we're like, did we read that wrong? Like, what's going on? So because at this point it's a little after 9. It's like 9:10 or something. So I've got Maddie's like on her phone, like trying to find the program guide. Ruben's like standing there. This is only his 2nd ever con, so he's like, I don't know what's going on. And I see like a small group of people near us. So we go to talk to them, and there's a staffer over there. And basically it was either misprinted or not communicated with staff about the time that Reg is supposed to be closing. Again, I'm not sure if it was a misprint and they meant to type 9 and instead they typed 10, or if the staff was just literally not told that they were supposed to stay open until 10. But regardless, they had closed. So this was a problem because we were trying to see our friend spin at this dance thing. So we needed a badge for that. So the staffer that was there was like, hey, we're really sorry about this. I don't know what happened. If you guys walk like all the way across the everything, because everything's kind of connected with Skywalk. She's like, yeah, if you go all the way into, I think it was in the Hyatt. No, it was in the Hilton, which I'm not familiar with very much because they really just have hotel rooms over there. They don't really have many con events in the Hilton. She's like, yeah, that's where Con Ops is, and they have all the pre-reg stuff and the reg stuff, so you guys can go and get your badges there. We're like, all right, great. So a whole group of us went over. Literally took like 10 or 15 minutes to walk over there. Like it was a trek. We walk in to this dimly lit room. I go first because nobody else wanted to go in. And I walk in and there's all these tired staffers with like half the lights turned off, and they like look at us. And I'm like, hi, we need our badges. So the guys are like, why didn't you go to Reg? And we're like, well, Reg is closed, my dude. So they sent us here. So they had no idea that Reg was closed already, I guess. And they had not gotten the pre-reg badges. Because AMKE, I believe, pre-prints their badges with like your badge name and information on them if you pre-reg. So like they didn't have that, which in my case it was fine because I hadn't pre-regged. But they were like, I had no idea what was going on. So we kind of explained what was going on. We're like, yeah, the program guide says 10. We got over there, they were already closed. They sent us here, like, can you do anything? They pulled me and Ruben over to the side and kind of got us going. Since we were just doing the at-door reg, we hadn't pre-reg. But Maddie, if you remember, she had that Ambassador Alley badge from No Brand Con's table swap. And so she's talking to the guys and kind of explaining like what's going on. And they basically like had no idea what she was talking about, which No Brand has done table swaps with AMKE for like a really long time, but because they didn't have the pre-reg stuff, because it was just never given to them. Like, they literally had no idea where it was. It was supposed to be there after hours, but it just wasn't. They really had no way of checking to see, like, if her name was on there or not. So eventually, I believe what they did is they just, like, comped her badge and gave her one because she was supposed to have, like, an ambassador badge. It was a whole thing. I don't know. There were, like, other people behind us too where, like, they're trying to figure their stuff out, and then I hear, like, one of the reg guy or one of the con ops guys on the walkie, like, stop sending people from reg over here, and I'm like, okay. But we got our badges, so I don't know what happened to the other people, but the three of us were good to go. So after that, which was very frustrating and annoying, we decided to go over to the bar by where our friend was going to be spinning because it hadn't started yet, and we had some drinks, and that was honestly the best part of my weekend. The bar was really nice. They had really nice staff and everything like that. The area is really pretty, so that was super fun. And I'm texting Kurtz again, and I'm like, yeah, we're here, like, we're really excited. He's like, oh yeah, I'm like, what's going on? And he goes, well, I'll just come out and talk to you, since they hadn't started yet. So he comes to meet us at the bar. And this was so long ago now that it's currently September when I'm filming this, and this was back in February. So unfortunately, I have very bad memory. He said something about they got his hotel room booking incorrect. So I believe he was originally just going to come on Friday, and then the staff was like, no, you should come on Thursday, we'll pay for your room. So he was like, okay, I'll come on Thursday, and then they just never booked that hotel room for him for Thursday night. So yeah, it was wild. I wish I could remember exactly what had happened. It was something like that. But he was pretty also fed up with AMKE staff at that point. I'm not posting this video to, like, slander AMKE and talk about how they're so terrible and, like, everything like that. I just think that as a con goer's point of view, it seems like nobody is ever on the same page at this con, which just makes it, like, super frustrating to do anything. And, like, Kurtz was a guest, and he also was, like, not super impressed. So we gossiped with him for a while, kind of vent some of our frustrations about AMKE. He goes back in there, and then we have to get wristbands to go into the club AMKE because there's a bar inside the room that it's being held in, and it's a 21 plus event, so we needed to have a wristband saying that we are adults. So we go over to the door, we give our IDs and everything and show our badges, and we get these wristbands. We go in there and kind of do stuff. At some point we head back out and go to one of the bars to get another drink because the bar inside didn't have a ton of stuff. And the bar staff were saying, oh, well, I thought they were supposed to be using this color for the wristbands, but now they're using that color for 18 plus, and this color is for 21 plus. So, like, I thought that it was the other way. Basically, the bar staff were not being correctly communicated with on what color wristband meant that somebody was 21 plus. Because the con also gives out 18 plus wristbands for, like, adult panels, stuff like that. And they weren't entirely going off of the wristbands because they didn't really know what was going on, but I'm sure there were some people that were 18 that were flashing their wristband, pretending to be 21 and getting drinks off of the bar when they just weren't communicated properly that that wasn't the correct color because they changed them. And again, this is just something that I overheard, so I don't know, like, what the full story is there, but that wasn't super cool. Anyway, so we do the dance stuff and it's, like, really fun. Kurtz did a really good job. It was super fun. I really liked the event, but we head home for the night, and then the next day, Saturday, we pretty much were just gonna go to hang out for, like, half the day and then head home. So Maddie's working at the table. Ruben and I go shopping and, like, go do Ruben and Cece stuff. I don't know, we're just kind of vibing. The time comes where I'm like, all right, let's peace out. It's, like, time to go. We get back to my car and I go to start my car and my car does not start. I drive a 2009 Toyota Camry XLE, so it's a nice car. It's getting a little bit old, but, like, not crazy. But yeah, like it seemed like the battery had died. All the lights on the inside of the car were working. My radio was working, but it just wouldn't turn over enough to start the engine. I'm in Milwaukee and I have no money because at this point I was still working at Target and was getting like 10 hours a week maybe. So I start crying. I remembered though that my parents, when we originally got my insurance years and years ago, we had opted into roadside assistance, which is basically if something like this happens, you can call a number and they will get somebody to come bail you out basically, and it's covered by your insurance, so it's free. So I'm like weeping. So I get Maddie to call this roadside assistance number to come rescue us. And I'm having to feed her like all of my security question answers and it's just awful. But after all the hoops we had to jump through to get it, they were like, all right, we've got this towing company in contact. They will be to your location in 45 minutes. And we're like, all right, it's February in Wisconsin. My car won't start. It is really effing cold. So we're sitting and like passing the time, and I'm like kind of calming down because I'm like, okay, somebody's on the way to give us a jump, like we'll be able to go back to my parents' house and my dad can change my battery and it'll be fine. So we're waiting and we get a text message like half an hour in that's like, thank you for choosing roadside assistance. This towing company will be there in 2 hours. And it's like an entirely different towing company and an entirely different estimated time of arrival. So we're like, what the hell? So I believe we called the lady back or something and we're like, what's going on? Basically, the original towing company just kind of dropped the job. They just didn't feel like doing it. And then this other company like couldn't get there for like 2 hours. So I'm like sent back into a panic attack again because I'm like, it's like, I don't remember what time it was. It was like 6 o'clock or something and I'm like starving, have no money, have no car, my phone is dying. So Maddie and Ruben, being rational brains, we went back into the hotel and pretty much just sat there for like 2 hours because there was a possibility that they could get there early. So we didn't want to go and like fuck off and do con stuff and then like miss the towing people. Yeah, I pretty much just sulked on a couch and was upset because I was starving and cold and my car was dead. But we did get rescued. It took a really long time because we were in a parking garage and we had no idea what the address was. We're like, I don't know, it's next to the Hyatt. Here's roughly where we are. And then they had to come find us and yeah, it was terrible. And of course the whole way home I'm like freaking out, like what if my car blows up? It didn't blow up, it was fine. But that was my experience at AMKE this past year. Some of it was the con's fault and it was crappy, and some of it was my car's fault, which was also crappy. I don't intend to go back to AMKE again. I think Maddie and Ruben feel similarly to me. Like literally as soon as the badge stuff happened and we left con ops, I looked at Maddie and Ruben, I was like, I'm never coming back to this con ever again. Like I just feel like at this point there's so many other cons that I can go to that are, at least from a con-goer standpoint, a lot more organized and kind of know what they're doing a little bit more, which is good. I hope this satiated some of your need for convention content since we aren't able to go to cons currently because of the global pandemic. Really though, guys, I appreciate you guys continuing to support my content even though I have been absent for a while. I do intend to start putting some more energy into YouTube. If you didn't watch my update video, basically my sewing room is not unpacked. We recently moved, so as soon as I'm able to get back down there, I intend to make some cosplay stuff and show it to you guys. So I said this in my last video too. Let me know down below what you guys want to see from me. I know typically cosplay work logs and story times like this get the most views on my channel, so I think you guys like that stuff. And I don't know though. So if there's something else you want to see, let me know and I will make it happen. So thank you guys so much for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye.